in our code. So we're going to go ahead and start. I just want to say that random is something chosen without adhering to an order or pattern. It has the chance of being different every time. Notice I said it has the chance of being different. There's, if you roll a dice, there's a chance you get the same thing each time. Okay, in JavaScript, random is a function that takes in a number or a range of numbers and returns a random value given those limits. So random 50 to 100 returns a number between 50 and 100. Random 1 to 5 returns a number 1 to 5. Random 100 returns a number between 0 and 100. And random 5 returns a number between 0 and 5. Take a second and think about what could be generated here. Random 300 and random 40 and 80. Random 300 would give you a random number 0 to 300, and random 40, 80 would give you a random number between 40 and 80. Okay, so we are going to do this. I'd love for you to open up an editor and label it 1.10 random. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and start setting myself up first. I'm going to press enter a few times, and I'm going to do that again. I came to the end of my background, and I pressed enter a few times. We are going to be using variables here. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to create our first variable, and that's just going to be to create a random number. So I am going to come up here, and I'm going to go next to the f of function in line 1 and press enter a few times. I can do that again for you. Press enter a few times. And then I'm going to come to line 1 and I'm going to write var random. This is going to be my variable that will store a random number. I just declared it. Then, just like before, I need to come into my setup. So I'm going to go at the end of create canvas and press enter a few times. And then on one of these lines, I'm going to put our variable random. And before, what we would have done is we would have done like equal 5, equal 10, or something of that sort. But this time, what we will need to do is we're going to write the word random, parentheses, and then we're going to put a range inside of it. So I'm going to do maybe 50, 100. And if I go back to our code from before, you'll see that this is returning a number between 50 and 100. So what this is going to do is it's going to pick a random number between 50 and 100 and store it in the random variable. This is us initializing. And if you remember, when we make variables, we need to declare, we need to initialize, and last but not least, we need to use. So for right now, all I'm going to do in this one is I'm just going to console.log. This is in my draw function, and I'm going to put the variable random. This is using the variable and printing its value to the console. And I'm just going to go ahead and press run. And you'll notice that I got a decimal, minus 57.99, so on. But if I run again, I get different numbers. So that's 76, 64, 61, and so on, which is pretty valuable and pretty powerful. So we are going to run through this 2 more times. I'm going to make some comments. We are going to make the background be a random shade of white or black every time we run. That's the first thing we're going to do. So we're going to make a variable to go right here in background. This is changing the color of the background. So I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to make a new variable. I'm going to call this one rand background. I'm going to come into my setup. So after where we did random, and I'm going to write rand background equals random, parentheses, And I want it to go between black and white. So I'm going to say 0 to 255. Random number between 0 and 255. And last but not least, I'm going to use that variable. So where the 220 is, I'm going to put rand background. And you'll notice that every single time I run, I'm getting a different shade of gray. Okay, I'm going to add one more comment towards the bottom of our draw, and that is make an ellipse. And every time the program runs, make its height random. So I'm just going to start by making an ellipse, and I'm going to give it an X, a Y, maybe a width, and for right now, a height. And every time it runs, I want to make this height change. So we need to make a variable for the height since it's changing. So we're going to follow the same process again. I came to the top. I'm writing var. I'm going to call this LH, ELLH for the ellipse height. Inside of my setup, I'm going to write LH equals random. We can't forget that word random. And I need to decide what I want it to be between. I don't think I want it to be between 0. I think I want it to be between like 20 and maybe 200. This is going to be between 20 and 200. And last thing I need to do is I'm going to take this last number, this height, and I'm going to put LH in it. And now, every time you run, you will see that there are different heights and a different color background. I have a few challenges for you to work on. You can pause and go ahead and try this. And same thing here. Let me know what questions you have.